Yesterday I emphasized about why so interesting in the reaction-diffusion equation. Especially we are interested in the pattern formation arising in such a simple nonlinear PDEs. And today I'd like to invite you to the world of mathematical biology. And part 2 and part 3 are devoted to the pattern formation arising in the bacterial colonies. And so this is E. coli, a typical bacteria. And each bacteria has a sort of, this is a flagella, okay? And they can move by using this flagella. And then there are two ways to move. One is just flagella is rotating anti-clockwise direction. Then they move like this, okay? And they change the direction from the anti-clockwise to the clockwise direction. This is tumbling. Tumbling means just change the direction. Okay, and they use two ways by using these ways, then just moving. So like this. So this is just I wrote by hand, but this is running. I change the tumbling, change the direction by tumbling, and running. So something like this. Okay. So this is a typical mobility of bacteria. And this is experiment result, and this is just the single cell. So single cell here is like moving like this by using the running and tumbling. Okay. And then this is sort of the 10,000 cells average movement. Okay. And this axis is time, and this axis is a square of distance between the initial point and some point at time t, for example. So you can see a sort of a very nice straight line. Okay. So this means diffusion. Okay. This means the diffusion. So bacteria move randomly in population level. Okay. So please think about that. Okay. And then if you look at say bacteria in a microscopic level, so like this, and so this is a kind of experiment. This is a petri dish, and this is a sort of agar, including nutrient homogeneously, and put some not point, but we say point inoculation on the surface of agar. Then they make colonies by using the growing and also cell division. Okay. And so this is one example here. So after some time, we can see a sort of colonial pattern. Okay. But the point is they can move only the random way. Okay. That's the point. Okay. And okay, this is our result. This guy is the experimentist, Mitsugu Matsushita, and this is my former student, PhD student, and we studied the sort of colonial pattern arising in this is Bacillus subtilis. This very safe bacteria, okay, quite different from E. coli. But of course, they also have a flagella. Of course, they can move. And for the environment conditions for them, typical condition is the following two conditions. One is a nutrient, of course, nutrient concentration. If nutrient concentration is very high, so it's easy to grow. to take, the nutrient. Otherwise, another thing is agar softness. What that means? So this is, you can see sort of they looks like a swimming, okay. But if agar is very hard, it's very hard to swim, okay. But if it's very soft situation, it's very easy. So agar softness really depends on the mobility, okay. So this is a typical environment condition for them. And Matsushita and his colleagues observed following 5 patterns. So this axis is 1 over agar. So it means that this is very soft. This is very hard. Okay, this is a high concentration, and this is a lower concentration. It means in this area, nutrients is very nice, and also they can swim easily. So we can say good environment. On the other hand, he's very worse. Okay, no way to move, and also the nutrient is very low, very worse. Dependent on the 2 environment conditions, bacillus substance, one bacteria shows basically different patterns. Okay, so I will explain more precisely. For this situation, good environment. So you can see it's not so easy see, but you can see a sort of disc pattern like this. And this is one point of nucleation here, and then they are growing, and growing. And then inside is like this, because here they're easy swim, so they're moving like this, okay? And taking a nutrient and expanding like this. That is this shape like this, okay? So it's not so surprising, because just one point of inoculation, so just homogeneously expanding, that's it. Okay? This is a very nice, good condition. How about here? So this is, the very nice condition, but a nutrient is quite low. So it's a sort of the competition among the space bacteria. And so roughly speaking, this sort of disc shape, okay, like this. But inside is very complicated, like a fingering pattern, okay, like a fingering pattern. And so this is a closely picture. So if this is sort of one, finger there, then they split 2 fingers. We say tip splitting. Yeah, and then this guy is moving. Okay, this is higher concentration of nutrient. Okay, so they're moving this way, not moving, but growing with diffusion. And then you can see the tip is like this, and like this, and like this, like this. So this is the typical tip splitting phenomenon occurs. Therefore, they show the very, fine fingering patterns. Okay, this is this one. And more precisely, so if you look at very carefully in this part here, so it's not so easy for you, but usually, so we can, distinguish this region and this region. Okay, I will show maybe. So this is moving this way, okay? But this is very much active. It's moving this way, okay? And then now it looks like here, okay? It's splitting, okay? And roughly speaking, this is a very nice area because high concentration of nutrients. So they grow this direction. Okay, but this is a kind of some here in this area. Bacteria does not do anything. Okay, just change. Okay, like this. So something like so. This is growing, and this is to convert to the so they say this active cells. So usually, so this is like moving this way. Okay, so this part is moving change to the rest active, and this is going up by growth. Okay, so this is a typical phenomena in this case. So this one is here, and another thing here, this is very worse. So this case is even though 1 point nucleation, the resulting pattern is very complicated. So like this, and very slow. And this is just a couple hours, not couple, maybe 4 or 5 hours, sorry. But here just 3 weeks, okay. Very slow because they cannot move. And also nutrients quite low. Almost impossible to survive. But they can survive. It's a very complicated shape, okay? Like this. So if you are interested in the fractal dimension, so fractal dimension is 1.72, means it's a very complicated. That's why it's for them, by using this shape, they have a chance to take a nutrient, okay, like this. So this here, okay. And then this one is so if this is very worse condition, but the nutrient is very high. At that time, the pattern is changing from this one, and eventually this one. Okay, so like this. Okay. So this is so what does it mean? This is the sort of the Matsushita told me this is sort of spaghetti pattern. Okay. No way, just the growing and self division. That's all. They don't move, but that's like a pushing. Okay, like this. This is this one. And the most important, most interesting part is the following. Here, I will show some movie, but very slow. Sorry. Wait a second. So this is a sort of a bacteria. Colony here, and then sort of the expanding, and then like this, and then like this, and like this. So it means sort of this time axis, this radius, arbitrary radius. So after this stop, and then increasing, and almost stop, and increasing, so like this. And I will show it more precisely. Yeah. So now they are growing. And then change the mobility and like moving like this. Tip, fingering pattern across. Like this. It's very fast. And then after few hours, they stop to move. Wait a second. Stop. Yeah. And then they change from this finger pattern to the almost like this, okay? And then again, fingering pattern across. Okay, so like sort of the oscillatory phenomena, okay? And moving here and stop, and almost like this, and so like this, and like this. This is we call concentric ring pattern. Okay. Okay. So the question is very clear. How do bacteria generate such a diverse pattern? Okay. Depending on the environmental conditions, it's very clear. The question. Okay. Why or how they can change their strategy? Okay. So that is the question. And mathematically, not biologically, I mean the question is the mechanism is coming from the gene control or self-organization. That's the point. And I would like to show some mathematical aided understanding method to answer this problem. Okay, this is the aim in the second lecture. Okay, so now we move to the mathematical biology. So far, this is biology. Yes, please.
So the bacteria,
yes,
which are in deep inside,
yeah,
they are still alive, right?
Oh yes, yes. No. What that means? Alive. Alive is what that mean? Alive.
Dead or not?
Oh, okay. So alive means, more precise speaking, they are alive, but some part is very active, some part is like sleeping. Sleeping means looks like dead. But if
inside
yes, but if you put some nutrient, they wake up.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. At least they are somehow sleeping.
Yes.
Inside. Not active.
Yeah. Okay. So now we move to the mathematical biology. And if you are interested in the reaction-diffusion equation, then we should try to analyze. Okay. Okay, so the first model is a very primitive model, so model 1. So this is the easiest one. So let's B be a density of bacteria, and N is a nutrient concentration. Probably this is very important, unknown variable, of course. And then this is first, the proposal. And this is the diffusion of bacteria, because I told you, so this be the density, so many population. That's why, so we may assume, they move in a random way in a population level, okay? So that we use this one. And this N, this is the nutrient concentration. This is also diffusive. That's why we just, this is here, we put here. And this is plus and minus, and this is growth term, okay? Of course, in the original model, we put this, maybe this is another parameter here, but we just normalize here. And G0 is a sort of conversion rate from the nutrient, to the growth, okay, here. So this is simple model to understand the bacterial colonies, okay. And then we put, we put a zero flux boundary condition on the boundary of omega, and this is the initial condition. But biologically, we may assume N, this is N not constant, because initially we assume that the nutrient concentration is homogeneous at first. Of course, if I into mathematics, then we may put N there blanket X, of course. But this is coming from the experiment. This is constant, okay. And dB, dN, and G0 is a positive constant. And the values are coming from the biological requirement, okay. And the question is, how is the behavior of Bn? Okay, so this looks simple. And first step is just we think about ODE in the absence of diffusion. So like this is ODE, very nice. And this is V naught and N naught is positive. Then it is easy to say, if we multiply G naught by the second equation, G naught here, G naught here, and we add two equations, so this is cancel. So B plus G naught N is constant with respect to time, okay. That's why we get this relation. So if you think about ODE, then result is very clear. Nutrients tend to 0. Bacteria is increasing from B naught to B naught plus G naught N naught, okay. This is a sort of growth, so it's very clear. And how is the reaction diffusion version? Here. The reaction diffusion version is like this, okay? And the result is also clear. So done by Masuda, very old days. Same result. N tend to 0 and B tend to a special average of B naught plus G naught N naught. Okay? So this is constant. So it means no special pattern appears. It means this model is wrong. Okay, unfortunately. Then we step the next stage here. So next stage is following bacterial growth model 2. So I just emphasize about here. So this area is a sort of active cell, and this is a less active cell. So this means so they are sleeping. Sorry, these are sleeping. Okay. And this is, the working or moving, okay? Here. Then, okay, so bacteria cells possess two internal phases. One is active cell, and also another one is less active cell, okay? And less active cells do not do, anything at all. Just sleeping, okay? And two phases convert each other here. Active cells is less active or less like this, okay? This answer is coming from this, experiments, okay? In the previous one, we just think about only one, type of bacteria. But from the experiment, we may assume that two different types of bacteria. Okay, then the equation, the system is the following. So this is the same one, and this minus alpha B means that B is a bacteria. This is convert to W, so this is plus. Okay, this is plus. Okay. Also, we may assume that so W convert to B like this. Okay. No, wait a second. Oh, so this is wrong. Yes, so I just wrote plus beta N, but this is beta W, sorry. Same thing, okay? Very sorry. Okay, anyway. But in that experiment, we don't care, only that we just supply the nutrient initially, that's it. So there's no way to come back, convert from the W to B. That's why we just this is cancelled. Okay. So our system is B N W. But the important thing is the following: the first two systems do not have W. Okay. That's why if you can solve this equation, these systems for B and N, and putting here, so you can get W. So this system basically has two component systems for B and N. Okay? Here. Okay, then we analyze. As a first step, we consider ODE. Okay? And then I told you the first, the two systems are closed. And it's not so easy to analyze this one. So this line is N equal alpha over G naught. So if initial value of, okay, at first we know if B naught and N naught is positive, then the solution of Bn always positive. So we think about only this region. And if and then we know N is always monotone decreasing. Of course, this is not this is trivial because the nutrient is always consumed. That's why it's always decreasing. Okay, but B is if B is initial value of B is greater than this one, so this is negative. So this is positive. Then at first B is increasing like this, but N is decreasing here. That's why at some time they cross this line, and then B becomes decreasing, okay, like this. Then we can get, and we can get B tend to 0 and N tend to some constant. This is just analyzed by using phase plane analysis. Okay, and W is given by this one. Okay, just integration of this one with this initial condition. Okay, so there are positive constant in infinity such that B tend to 0, N tend to N infinity, because you can see this one. So N is finite. B tend to 0. So this is after term is going on. So this is becoming 0. That's why the dominant part is like this. So B converts to 0 with exponential order. That's why W is integral. N is wait a second. Okay, sorry. So maybe the next one. So we have a W infinity, okay, such that WT tend to W infinity. So this is a kind of asymptotic behavior of this one. Okay, this is ODE. So how about reaction diffusion equation? Here, so this is the reaction diffusion version. This equation, and if we can solve this one, then we can get W by using this relation. The important thing is the following: W is given by the whole history of B, because from 0 to T. Okay. So this is a result by Hoshino. There are some constant in infinity such that B tend to 0, N tend to some constant in infinity. Okay. So if you think about only the two component system, there is no pattern formation, because B tend to 0 and N tend to some constant. Okay, so nothing interesting. But the total density is B. This is active plus W. This is this active plus. This is a total density. Okay. So in experiment we can see both, and then if we take a limit T tend to infinity, so what happens? So this tends to 0. So this tends to something like this. Okay. So this is the sort of the final value of bacteria in OD sense. Okay. But PD sense also we have the same thing. Here, B tend to 0, M tend to infinity, but we have the W infinity of X. So in this case, this is X. Okay. Yeah. So the question is, what is the spatial profile of this one? This is important, okay, because this is final pattern, okay. But this is final pattern is given by the here. So this is infinity. So W infinity X is let's say alpha 0 infinity B tau X d tau. So what I'm emphasizing is the following: for the two-component system for B and N, asymptotic behavior is given by the B and N as a large time Okay. But if you are interested in the assumed behavior of W, at that time we need to have the information from 0 to say infinity. So long, I mean the life. Okay. So it's not so easy to analyze what kind of spatial pattern arising in W infinity of X. Then a mathematical question is the following. We already know this one, okay? And this axis is sort of the softness of agar. And this is the nutrient concentration, initial nutrient concentration. And coming back to our model, so this axis is N0, okay? And this axis is the ratio of the dB over dN. This is sort of mobility, okay? And the question is, the W infinity, does W infinity X generate this kind of pattern? That's the question, okay? Of course, we have this result. But this result doesn't say anything about information on this one. That's why we have to rely on the numerical simulation. Okay, here. And let's do. Okay, and then numerical simulation say the following. Okay, so this is so this green is a nutrient concentration, initially homogeneous, and this red is active ones, B. They put in the active cells here. So this is the expanding like this. Why? What is the white part? White part is less active. Okay. And so suppose we think about this situation. It means this is sort of ring. So ring with the sort of active cell. And inside this is W. Okay. And this is almost, I mean, a disc-shaped pattern. Okay. And expanding like this. Okay. And so the resulting pattern exhibits the disc shape only for any dB, dN, and N0. Other spatial patterns do not appear. Okay. So this result is different from this one. So it means second, I mean, model is not right. I mean, okay. Unfortunately, what should I do? Yes, we may be missing some information. Okay, and then I will show some ansatz. This is just ansatz, okay? Bacteria change the ways of growth and mobility depending on their environment. It means in modeling, the conversion rate alpha may depend on the environment. So what it means, alpha is, I told you, alpha is a sort of the conversion rate, okay? The alpha is very big, okay? Then they can easily change from the active cell to less active cell, okay? But if, suppose, we can see only the N. So if N is quite low, what does that mean? Very low concentration. It means very worse environment. They really want to convert from the active cell to the less active cell. If N is very big, I mean high concentration, it's very nice. That's why they don't need to convert from the active cell to less active cell. Okay. So this is very, I mean, easily understanding. For instance, so if, I mean, Professor Kim, if you have so money, okay, so every night you will go somewhere to drink or enjoy. But if you are so poor, so maybe you stay at home. So this is just this one, okay. So the conversion rate really depends on the environment, okay. It means alpha is not constant, but a function of alpha, B and N. This is ansatz. Okay, there's no biological support. But we try to impose this assumption on our model. Okay? So now this is the third model. So this myself and with former student and also experimentist. And so B is density active bacteria and W is less active, and N is nutrients concentration. And the equation is almost similar, except alpha. Okay, if alpha is constant, it reduces to the models 2. Very similar. Okay, but the same thing is just only the two-component system essentially. And if you can solve this equation for B and N and put him here, then we can get W. That's the same story as the previous one. Okay? And then this is the OD version. In the previous one, it means alpha is constant, so this is just this is straight line. But in this case, alpha is bounded and monotone decreasing in B and N. So let's say alpha Bn, and we just differentiation with respect to N. So this means alpha B dV dN. Wait a second. What? Okay, so maybe here. Okay, so maybe this, no, maybe this is P. So alpha B plus alpha N and dN dV equal. So if alpha Bn 0, dN dV. Yes, this is 0. That's why dN dV equal minus alpha N or alpha B. Okay. So this is negative. This is negative. It is minus. This is negative. Okay. Roughly speaking. So this is just monotone decreasing function like this. Okay. Of course, dependent functions. Of course. But you can see it's the same story. So suppose initial condition here, then this is as for B, so this is increasing and this decreasing here. Same thing like this. And here it just immediately tend to 0. So of course we can analyze this equation by using phase plane analysis. So, and then we can get this result easily. Okay, so B tend to 0. Same thing, N tend to 0. Wait a second. Okay, N tend to N infinity, this is positive, and W tend to W infinity, positive. So this is exactly the same story. This one. Same story, okay? Nothing changed. No, not so interesting from mathematical point of view. Okay? And also, for the reaction-diffusion version, same thing, the same thing, okay? And W is given by this one, okay? And so we have same result. This is so to work with the other. This is Czech and this is France. But anyway, there is constant n infinity and also a function w infinity positive such that b tend to 0, n tend to m infinity, w tend to w infinity. This is also same thing. Not so interesting. But the question is the following. This one. In the previous one, this w is just disk, okay? Nothing interesting, just a disk. How about this one? As for this equation, same result. But please check this one. This is just the history of b from 0 to infinity. So in this case also, this is 0 to infinity, b and n. So I told you so acidic behavior very similar. But as for w infinity, we know the whole story. That would change. Okay? So the problem is following. Okay? What kind of special profile appears in this parameter space? Okay, and so this is just a numerical simulation, and in the numerical simulation we assume the following specified the function here. So this is both of them is monotone decreasing. And then mathematically we can get b tend to 0, n tend to some constant in infinity, okay? We know that. And that means if this green is this nutrient, if just it is one point in equation of b, then what happens? So we know this one. So it may b tend to 0. So eventually we have the following state. So active cell just fade out. And n tend to infinity. But the question is how about w? The w here or w here? Okay. Okay, and then we try to compute here. But further in this area, this is very good environment. So what happened? It means n naught is are very high, and dB is very dB is a little bit bigger, okay, for fixed dn. So this is the numerical simulation, and this related active cell here, and active cell is this is just expanding, and eventually this hit or disappear, I don't know, but just fade out. This is a result. This one, b tend to 0. Okay, here. And how about this active white part is like this. Okay. So in this case, we have a disc shape pattern. So this case is we have a similar pattern. In some sense, not interesting because this is a good environment, and the pattern is very simple pattern. And our model is show this one. This is similar to the previous model 2. I told you that it's not interesting because for any parameters regime, we have only this one. But in this model, in this area, we have this kind of pattern. So how about other environment? Okay. In this case, we have this kind of pattern. Very surprising. I can explain precisely. Okay. Okay. So this is okay. So look at this one here. This is almost same color, red color. Okay. This is homogeneous. This means same densities. Okay. But here is so this is like a spot. Okay. And in this very high density, but it is quite lower density. It means a kind of this bifurcation of the ring pattern. Okay. So spot say B appears equidistant spot splitting and finally disappear. But of course, finally this disappear. Of course, this mathematical result. But you can see this. Okay, this guy. This is here is and then this is growing and this is splitting two parts. Okay, like this. And W Tx is given by the 0t A say B tau x N tau x and B tau x D tau, so something like this, okay? And W is given by the this, I mean the history. Yeah, yes, like this. And then you can see this white part is W. Look at it, this is just a tip splitting. Yeah, I mean one spot split two. It means corresponding the W is just like a tip splitting of fingers. Okay. So roughly speaking, or mathematically speaking, this kind of pattern appears due to the instability of ring pattern, roughly speaking. Okay? And then this is sort of the time sequence of the W. So from here and like this, like this, like this, and then we can get this one. And you can see, maybe not so easy to see, but the white part is less active, but maybe you cannot see, but just the tip is this sort of the, I mean, pink color. That is active cell. Okay, and roughly speaking, yes. Suppose we have so like this. Suppose. So this is active cell. So this is active cell. So this less active, for instance. And this is a very nice, I mean, the area for nutrient. That's why this is moving this way, and grows. But this is not so good, I mean, the environment for them, because this is very, I mean, the lower nutrient. That's why this change to this one. So next stage is something like this, okay. And here is like this. So it looks like the fingernail is going up, okay. And then so something like this, and you can see something like this. It means at first this is one spot here, and this is two. So if the nutrient is quite low, then this one spot cannot cannot persist to keep this shape. They have to split. So like this, okay? It means this kind of a very complicated pattern, okay? Okay, and then for lower concentration, and if in the agar from the softness and the hardness, so we can get this kind of sequence. Okay. And okay, this is, and so this is and this is another time sequence here. Oh, this is maybe easy to see, maybe from here. This is pink color here. Top is pink color. Okay, this is active cell. Okay. Then most interest part is here. This is, I told you, sort of oscillation, expand and stop, and expand and stop like this with fingering pattern. But this is not, we cannot see fingering pattern. And this is like this. Okay. This is the model equation. Okay. So, and also this part is I have to say, this pattern is no more described by the reaction-diffusion equation. This is just also sort of spaghetti, like only pushing, okay? So we have to propose another model by using the nonlinear diffusion. But we just skip that. So our third model, model 3, relatively has a good agreement with the patterns like this, okay? And then I can tell you the following message from the model-aided understanding to biology, or message from the, let's say, applied mathematician to the biologist, okay? Okay, so in our model, we introduced, the internal phases, two internal phases. One is the active phase, the other is the less active phase, and the conversion rate really depend on their environment, okay? That's a very much important, answer. And roughly speaking, if the environment becomes worse, then they have a tendency from the active phase to less active. Okay, this is a very, natural. I should say natural. The assumption. And because of this mechanism, they can change spatial forms in a self-organized way. So we don't need to have a gene control. Just we assume this one. This is very important, okay? If a bacteria has the following, the mechanism, then we may have this kind of pattern, okay? Okay. This is very good, but on the other hand, from a mathematical point of view, it's very hard to analyze. Because, so this is our model, and mathematically speaking, our model is essentially two-component system like this. And if you analyze this system, then we already have done. Yes, there is an infinity such that we have this behavior. So we have a nice mathematical result, and you may submit this result to some mathematical journal. Okay, and in some sense very satisfied. But if you are interested in biological problem, this is not satisfied. The important thing is here. And also mathematical said, yes, we have like this. This is also mathematical statement. Looks satisfaction. But the question is what kind of spatial profile are generated from this one. So this result does not say anything about the information. Only that we can say, oh, there exists W infinity of X. That's it. And it looks. So some mathematicians say, oh, this is already fine. We have very nice, the simple behavior. But this, the result does not tell you about anything about this, the pattern formation. How can we analyze? This is a really mathematical problem, but it's a very hard problem, very hard. Now nobody, succeed to show this kind of pattern are generated from this one. Okay, so this is maybe so you are very young generation, so maybe you should try to study this kind of problem. So for a senior person, we gave up to do that, especially when many also gave up. Okay. So maybe I have 5 minutes, okay? So we have 5 minutes? Okay, and so this is the same slide, but we also, consider about bacterial colony, but now we are interested in the E. coli. In the previous one is substance, another bacteria, safe bacteria, but this is very dangerous bacteria. And the same situation, okay? And then look at this one. This is sort of the cover of the Nature in 1995. And it's a very nice flower-like pattern. So I'm very shocked to see this pattern, because this pattern generates in E. coli. So like a flower.
Is that experiment?
This is really experiment. This is really experiment. And so this is the experiment, and this, so this one spot, not spotted, so like this, okay? It consists of this 50,000 cells, okay? Just make one microcolony. And you can see a sort of the pattern. And why does this pattern attract us? It means, we can see something like characteristic pattern. It looks like this flying geese. And also this is, I don't know, some soldiers also like this. This is called chevron-like pattern. This is a French word, okay, chevron pattern. And I'm very surprised to see this kind of pattern generated by E. coli bacteria. And this is 1995. That time, many, modeling researcher try to understand why E. coli generates this kind of pattern. Okay. And then this is the original paper by experimentist Badlin and Berg. And at that time, Badlin was in the Harvard, but now he moved to France. And the title of the paper is Complex Patterns Formed by Immotile Cells of E. coli. And the interest point following, their bacteria of E. coli communicate to each other by using the chemical signals, so that they can aggregate by themselves. So we call this kind of aggregation is self-organized aggregation by using the sort of signal. Okay. And then this, the first, part in the interaction. Wait a second. Yes, this bacteria, E. coli, has a sort of the chemotactic property. I will explain later. Chemotactic property. And these bacteria aggregate in response to the gradient of attractant, which they exclude by themselves. And the attractant is chemical sensed by the aspartate. This is the attractant. And so this is just a rough picture. So this is sort of cell. Okay? This is a particle or molecular size of attractant, and they are moving. Okay, and if attractant the high density, high concentration here, so this is moving this way. This kind of property is chemotactic taxis by chemical substrate. That's why it's chemotaxis. Okay. So this is the typical, phenomena in microorganism. Okay. And then, 1 minute. And then there are 4 elements in colonial formation. One is very simple, is substrate consumption. Okay. In order to do this, consumption, they can grow. And also they secrete attractant, and they move by using the chemotactic signals. Okay, so this is 4 elements occurs in the colonial formation. And so just I show maybe 2 minutes. It's okay. Just I show that at first he used a sort of a succinate. This nutrient is 1 millimole. It's quite low. Then, not surprising, from the 1 point inoculation, we can get sort of the pattern like this. So this is quite similar to the previous case in good environment. But when they change the concentration from 1 to 2 here, so the situation is totally drastically changed. Okay. Maybe it's not easy to see, but roughly speaking, this is like this. Okay. So this is sort of the microcolony. The next one is also same one, but it is same direction here. This is sort of the typical picture which I made. So like this. So this is sort of this rectangular. So we say pseudo rectangular lattice clusters. And so I just showed why we have this kind of one. Okay, so I will show some movie. This is very interesting. The white part is this cluster, and this is a higher concentration of nutrients, and this is growing in this direction. And here is the cluster. Okay, and then so this is a new cluster on the periphery. Okay, and here and also and the interest point of flowing. This is some part moving in this direction. Okay. And to make a new cluster. Okay. So roughly speaking, so here and some okay, here will be better. So this is becomes this one, and some part move to this one to generate a new cluster. Okay. And so in this okay, so here is some part is living there, and some part is moving this way. So it's very nice. Cooperative. Okay, so something group that's cluster. Okay, and you stay here. I'm staying this to moving this way to make a new cluster. Okay, so this is a kind of mechanism to generate this kind of one. Okay, just 1 minute. And if it is 3 times, then the pattern is sort of different, like this. So here is and then alternatively is with a new one, and then this is here. So this is sort of the diamond shape or hexagonal shape. So we say this is pseudo hexagonal lattice cluster. So what I emphasize is the following. So depending on the concentration of the nutrient, they change their pattern, their colonial pattern. How can we understand this kind of pattern? This is our question. Thank you very much.